Welcome to the Post Credits Podcast, where we talk about movies after the credits roll. My name is Jesse.
I'm Max.
And I'm Brody.
Welcome, Brody, to the podcast.
Yes, welcome to the podcast.
Podcast.
Due to scheduling issues, Logan is not able to be with us today, so we have brought on Brody as our pseudo-Logan.
That's my roommate, bro.
Today, on the Weekly Spoiler Review, we're coming at you live from the dying planet of Krypton as we review the second best film in the DCU, Supergirl.
Well, there's only two.
I mean, that means it's the second best, though.
Hey, pretty high bar, if you ask me.
So the DC universe, DC cinematic universe, I don't know. It's has a weird history. DC in general has a weird history with cinematic universes. After the success of the Avengers, DC kind of rushed a universe into creation with Zack Snyder at the helm creatively, with Man of Tomorrow and Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
I think you mean Man of Steel there. Man of Tomorrow's coming out next year.
Yeah, I do mean Man of Steel.
But Man of Tomorrow.
Man of Tomorrow is coming out next year.
I'm so hyped.
Yeah.
And then also we had Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, Justice League, a bunch of other movies, and a bunch more that were planned to be part of what was then called the DCEU. But the DCEU, after rising budgets and lessening profits, ended up ending with Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom, I believe was the final DCEU film.
Yeah, it's the final scene you'll see in the DCEU is Patrick Wilson eating a cockroach.
Was that the second Aquaman one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Neither have I. It's okay.
I saw when it came out, and that was about it.
My mother is calling me. You
Okay.
guys keep speaking, and I'll step out.
So the DCU, rocky history, as we were saying. DCU ended in, I believe, 2023?
Yeah, 23.
With The Lost Kingdom. And what was clear by 2023 was that there was a new universe that was being helmed by James Gunn and Peter Safran following James Gunn's split with Disney. That was revealed on January 31st, 2023, along with their first slate of projects, a lot of which were similar to projects that were in the works from the DCU, including the DCU was supposed to do a Supergirl film following the comic book character Supergirl. Anna Nogueira was hired to write that film. And in that first slate of DCU films, which is called Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Tough as hell,
tough.
by the way.
Gods and Monsters.
One of the films was Supergirl, which is an adaptation of the comic book run Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which ran from 2021 to 2022.
Yeah, I read that issue. I bought it like when James Gunn announced like the slate. He's like, because apparently he's such like a comic book nerd. Like he like put out a list of like all the comic books that inspired it.
Wait, maybe? Oh.
And literally like the next day on Amazon, I was just like ordering a bunch of comic books. So like in my room, I just have like
should
the comics.
Should I read Man of Tomorrow before seeing Man of Tomorrow, or should I see Man of Tomorrow and then read Man of Tomorrow? Same with Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Like, see Woman of Tomorrow, then read Woman. Like, what do you think? Like, is this like a situation where you read the book before the movie, or do you read the book after the movie?
I'll talk about it with this one, but Woman of Tomorrow is a really good comic, and I'll get into this more in the movie. But I feel like that it sets some things a little higher than maybe it should. But I don't know. I guess it just depends on the movie. But it's not. You don't like have to. But like,
okay.
So, I've never read Woman of Tomorrow. I probably should. I mean, it seems interesting. It seems very good from what I've heard, but I've never read it. But maybe I will. So later on, it was revealed they had a couple of potential actresses that they were going to get to play Supergirl, also known as Kara Zor-El, is her Kryptonian name. They had Millie Alcock, Amelia Jones, Kaylee Spaney, and Meg Donnelly in the running for playing the character. They landed on Millie Alcock. So, yeah. With all that pre-production stuff out of the way, I think it's time that we ask the question that we always ask when we do these reviews. And Brody, since you're our number one fan, you already know about this question. But
Yes.
how did you hear about this movie?
Well, I'm just an avid DCU fan, so I knew. I guess like probably through social media, but like I knew after Superman came out that like the slate next up in the slate was Peacemaker and then Supergirl, or like the next film in the slate was Supergirl. So yeah, that's how I would have figured out. Wait, you asked the movie, not the podcast, right?
Yeah, the movie. How did you find out about the movie?
Okay, because I was gonna say yeah, that's what I meant about the movie. About the podcast, you guys just told me that you record a podcast.
Yeah,
that's why. Okay,
that's how everyone finds out about this podcast. So with me, I find it hard to pin down an exact moment which I heard about Supergirl, but I definitely knew after I saw Superman that the next one was Supergirl because she appears in the post-credit scene of Superman, and.
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard to...
Or is it just...
the very end. It's just the very end.
Yeah, I don't think there was a post-credit scene.
Oh,
no, there is, but
wait.
it's not like... That's just... There is, but it's not like a setting up the next film post-credit scene. It's just
Wasn't
like
it just him on the moon or something?
It's him on the
God,
moon,
yeah,
and then
I
it's
remember
him with Mr. Terrific.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Just with the cracked wall or whatever.
I remember that.
It's been a while since I saw that movie, so
Yeah.
I guess I
I think
misremembered
I
it.
watched it like a month ago. I really love that movie.
So I liked Superman more than I expected to, honestly, because I'm not a huge comic book aficionado, I guess. And a lot of modern comic book movies don't really get me, I guess. And so I wasn't expecting to like Superman as much as I did. And because I like Superman so much, I decided to put Supergirl on my most anticipated list. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm down to see what James Gunn has in store next for the series, even though he did not direct Supergirl. Supergirl was directed by Craig Gillespie, who you probably know for directing Cruella or I, Tonya.
Yeah, both good movies. Well, for me, I, Tonya was the better of the two. But I guess in terms of how I found this one, I remember when James Gunn put out like the video announcing the slate, and it was back when Superman was called Superman Legacy, and when Supergirl was called Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow.
Wow.
And then James Gunn was like, I don't like
Supergirl?
colons, and so then he took the colons out, and so it was just Superman and Supergirl.
I
That's
thought
like the title.
Supergirl was still Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, or is it just Supergirl?
It's just Supergirl.
It's just
Ah,
Supergirl.
Okay.
Because remember when Superman was called Superman Legacy, and like that was my number one most anticipated last year. I was so excited for it.
Yeah.
And I really like that movie as well. And with Supergirl, it was obviously like I knew about it as the second movie in the DCU, and I was curious to see what somebody else besides James Gunn can do with DC characters. At least in this current universe run by James Gunn and Peter Safran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I bought the book and I read it, and it was fantastic. But that was like, I think that was like 3 years ago at this point.
Jeez.
It was a while ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago. Wow.
Yeah, or like 2 years, or whenever it was announced. I think
It was
like,
announced 3 years ago, like straight up 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Almost 3.5 years ago now.
Yeah, in my room, I just have like I have a section of like comics on like my bottom drawer. It's just like DCU, and it's just like Superman. I have Supergirl. I have all the ones like in order. I even have The Authority, which I don't even know if that movie's still happening anymore. But I read The Authority and
There you go.
the rest of them. So
Yeah, and I think we'll discuss how this fits into the greater DCU in a little bit. It's also difficult to talk about the greater DCU because the DCU currently, as we alluded to at the beginning of the episode, consists of 2 movies and 2 TV shows.
but this is the second best movie.
It
But
also
the second. Oh no!
actually,
Wait, never mind.
it consists of 1.5 TV shows because only half of Peacemaker is in the DCU.
No.
It's-
Technically,
yeah.
season 1 and 2 are both in the DCU. Technically.
Okay, I hate how James Gunn handled the Peacemaker season 2 trade-off because what he said was that season 1 is only canon, like the events of it are canon, but specific things are only canon if I say they're canon on my Peacemaker rewatch podcast.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
that. That was stupid.
which
That's
is
like-
kind of silly. But I did listen to the podcast, so.
As did I.
But no, because I remember watching after Superman being like, I'm so in for the DCU, being like, I gotta watch Peacemaker now. So I watched first season Peacemaker, and I would like constantly Google like, is blah 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 moment in season 1 canon? Basically, I think what I came to is like any references to other heroes are not canon, like in this first season, and then because at the end of the second or at the beginning of the second season and like the previously on, they do that little cameo with the Justice League, but they edited
it's like
the silhouettes are different, and it's now the Justice Gang,
yeah, the Justice
plus
Gang,
Superman and Supergirl. So yeah, like to me, it's like basically the plot is canon. Any like specific references they make to the Justice League are not.
But then what is the Suicide Squad canon?
I don't know. Yeah, I think so, because the second one is all about Rick Flag Jr. being killed. Like that's like,
I guess
that would be considered like the almost inciting incident, or like what caused that entire season is the fact that Rick Flag Jr. was killed. So yeah, but I don't know if the entire Suicide Squad movie is canon, but maybe just some of the events.
Yeah,
right.
Which is weird for me.
It's fuzzy
because it's like I watched season 1 like when it first came out, which is kind of weird. Because I remember because I watched the Suicide Squad because it was like in theaters and on HBO Max. I watched it on HBO Max like when it first came out. And then I watched Peacemaker week to week because it was at an important time, and it was just like my grandma was at my house for a little bit, and my parents were up in New Jersey, and my brother and I, like I was a freshman in high school, my brother was an 8th grader, and like he was always at school. And so in order to like avoid my grandma, which like if you're listening to this, don't take that the wrong way. But like I would go upstairs and like put my headphones on, watch Peacemaker, and I would just be like dancing to the intro. It was like peak times.
I love those songs.
And so like when they did like the whole retcon, like it was so weird for me because Jesse and I watched the second season like when we first moved in. It was just like so weird.
Dude,
like,
that was I think that might be peak college memories. Is me like at the very end of the day, like going back to my dorm and then just, because I would be so busy. Like I'm like, I finally finished everything, and then I'd be like, what day is today? It's Thursday. And then I'd open up my laptop and then I'd watch the next episode of Peacemaker.
You hear that? Brody peaked in the first 2 months of college.
All right, shut the heck up. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
But Peacemaker Thursdays.
Yeah. Peacemaker Thursdays.
Peacemaker. Yes.
Yeah, so
peak television.
We had Peacemaker, and then also Creature Commandos was technically the first thing to ever come out for the DCU.
Oh shit!
Yeah, which is like, bro,
kind of lame.
Yeah,
I like that show, but I'm just like, that's the first thing we get is Creature Commandos.
I actually haven't watched it. I need to watch it.
I mean, it's good, but like,
I know people are a little upset that Clayface is in it.
Yeah, because he has
a standalone movie coming out later this year.
Oh yeah, dude, which I'm also really excited for.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. We will discuss that after Supergirl as well. So, with all that being said about Supergirl and a lot of things being said not about Supergirl, should we jump into Supergirl?
We have spent a large amount of time not talking about. Yeah, let's talk.
I was about to say we have a movie to discuss.
Let us discuss Supergirl. At the beginning of Supergirl, we see Millie Alcock as Supergirl, and she is not doing great. She's kind of a drunkard, and she is hanging out on planets with the Red Sun. Now, the thing with DC, and I don't know much about DC, and I'm sitting next to two people who do know much about DC, so if I'm wrong about any of this, please correct me. But my understanding is that the Kryptonian powers that Superman and Supergirl have come from the sun of the Earth, and the fact that it is a yellow sun, or just the strength of the sunlight, I guess, creates the power.
It's yellow sun, yeah.
So the Earth is a yellow sun, and cosmologically there are 3 classes of sun, of star in general, I believe. They are red, which is the weakest but typically the biggest, yellow, which is in the middle on both fronts, and then white, which is the smallest but the densest and most powerful. Those are the ones that I believe come about before a star turns into a black hole, as the white star. We don't see any white stars. We see 3 kinds of suns in this movie. We see the red sun, which Kara goes to planets with the red sun because it weakens her powers and allows her to get drunk, because you can't get drunk on a planet with a yellow sun because you're too strong for that. There's the yellow sun, which is like, okay, you go to the yellow sun, you get powers. And then there's also...
when I'm already like, I get powers. It's whatever,
and then there's also the green sun, which we'll talk about a little later, but I didn't quite understand it.
I didn't either. I'd never seen that before. But yeah.
Yeah, I was...
But we roll with it though.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be something different, but like we'll get to there when we get to that scene.
Yeah.
But like I thought like that was gonna indicate people showing up, and that didn't happen. But
yeah. So Supergirl is it's her 23rd birthday, so she's going around doing a drinking binge. While she's doing this drinking binge, we catch up with a little girl named Ruthie, and I could not tell you how old she is. She's played by Eve Ridley, who is in real life 15 or 14 years old.
So Ruthie's probably just knowing how film does casting kids who are like 15. Ruthie is probably like 11 or 12.
Okay.
Wow.
I cannot guess the age of kids.
Yeah, me neither.
It's bad.
I also know that from doing, auditions when I was 15, giving me like between 11 and 13 is how they're going to cast you as a 15-year-old. Because now
Dude, this is insight.
as like a 19-year-old, I do auditions for kids that are like 16 to 17.
Oh, that's
Okay.
interesting.
I remember when the Star Wars show Kenobi came out, they tried to convince us that like Princess Leia's like 6 in that show.
She looks like
And she's like 22.
Or like the little girl in Stranger Things.
11?
Which one?
No, not 11.
Oh, that's the only character I know from Stranger
Mike's
Things.
younger sister.
Holly?
Yeah, Holly.
Yeah.
Like okay, personally for me, I was like, even knowing that piece of information, I still was, when they were like, yeah, she's like 10. I was like, no, she is not. I was like, she is not 10 years old. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's like, what, 13 or something in real life? I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, she's 14 because she's my
14.
little brother's age. Anyway, sorry, we're totally off topic.
So her whole family is murdered by this guy named Krem, who's played by Matthias Schoenaerts. And I also don't know how old Krem is, if that's any consolation.
Me neither. I'm guessing middle age, but also I think
like-
that's a pretty safe guess.
5, at least 5, probably.
So Ruthie's dad is like Hattori Hanzo, and he makes swords. And so Ruthie takes one of his swords and goes and tries to get revenge on Krem. She busts down the door of this bar and is like...
Wait, did we mention the fact that Krem like murdered her family?
Yeah, Krem murdered her
Okay.
family. Yeah.
I just want that's like low-key important.
Oh, he was sent to prison a few months back.
Who was?
The guy who played Crown.
Oh shit!
I just looked him up, and this was like Supergirl actor Matthias something.
For what?
Sentenced to prison for driving violation. 6 months. Oh, so he's probably out by now.
Yeah, well, yes.
Okay, well.
He filmed the movie.
Yeah, but that was like...
Well, yeah, but like
I was wondering why
they
he
probably filmed that like a year or at least.
When
a
was he
year ago.
arrested?
Like November, December.
Oh, that's different.
Well, he came out just in time for the movie.
Yeah.
So I just looked up the actor's name. I was like, what other movies has he been in? They're just like sentenced to 6 months in prison. I was like, what?
He's 48, in case you're concerned. So Ruthie breaks down the door of this bar that Supergirl also happens to be in, looking for someone to help her get revenge. She lands on Supergirl after Supergirl beats up this guy for stealing Ruthie's sword. Ruthie heads to Supergirl's ship to enlist her help, but Supergirl says no, and Krem then steals Supergirl's ship and shoots Crypto with a poisonous dart. So...
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
So Kara takes Crypto over to this, like, doctor, roughly, and says that basically this is a special poison used by the Kremlings. That's not actually what they're called, but I don't remember what they are.
Gremlins? Oh, the Kremlings.
The Kremlings.
The Kremlings?
The Kremlin.
The Kremlin.
The Kremlings are the bad guys in Donkey Kong Country.
I think you said the Lemmings at first. I was like,
Yeah,
what?
but the
I was
Kremlin
like,
is like
The Russian capital.
yeah, I was about to say.
But the Brigands, I think, is what they're actually called.
Oh,
Oh.
yes, yeah.
Because I forgot they said lemmings. I was like, why are the lemmings like the army?
So the Brigands have this special poison that they carry the antidote to that paralyzes and then kills their victims as like an interrogation tactic, but the dog has no information. So basically Supergirl's like, okay, now I'm going to try to kill Krem to get that poison to save the dog. And also Ruthie's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just there.
Well, Ruthie is like at this point kind of being annoying and like,
Yeah.
following Supergirl around, being like, "Help me, help me."
Yeah, it's like you need to come help me beat Crumb. It's like, oh my god, like I don't blame Supergirl for her
Clearly,
reaction.
nobody taught you manners.
She didn't say please at all. Like,
For real. Oh, maybe she did.
maybe.
So they get on this like bus where Seth Rogen is like the bus driver.
But like
that.
a little alien.
Yeah, he's like a tiny little alien.
I clocked the second he started speaking. I was like, "Oh my god, is that Seth Rogen?" And then remember, like, I turned to Jess, like, "I think that's Seth Rogen." You're like, "What?" I was like, "Listen, it's Seth Rogen."
So they're attacked on the bus by a group of Sklarian raiders, I guess from the planet Sklar. And basically, they're like cresting a planet that has a yellow sun. So Supergirl's like fighting the raiders, but she doesn't have powers yet. And then she goes out into like the airlock.
It's a space.
Oh yeah, the airlock. She goes
And she's like, "Can you get closer to the yellow sun?" And he's like, "Well, I could if I had an engine or a pair of balls, but I don't." So
funniest joke in the movie, actually.
yeah.
But then one of the raiders ejects her out of the airlock, so she starts dying in the cold vacuum of space. But the sun rises just enough for her to get her powers, and then she beats up the raiders and interrogates them. And they say, "You know what? They're on the planet Bilkis."
What kind of fucking name is
We're
that?
Bilkis.
So they go to Bilkis.
It's at this point.
So I went to Bilkis.
It's at this point where I'm just like, this is like a Guardians of the Galaxy knockoff, or like someone trying to copy.
It never stops.
Dude,
being-
it's almost like the, executive producer directed Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, I just feel like Craig Gillespie doesn't have to, I don't know, copy all of his stylings. Like, it does feel like a Guardians of the Galaxy knockoff tonally and in construction. And we'll get to that a little bit later when we're finished as well, when we talk about our criticisms of the movie. But, so Supergirl and Ruthie go to this bar. And this bar is run by this couple named Bomar and Marek. And this bar has a lot of brigands in it. And the brigands are at Bilkis because they like to trade. Well, they participate in human trafficking a la Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh yeah, I was that. Yeah,
As
that's what that reminded me of.
Very similar.
So I can't get everything in
system.
Bilkis. I can't. Bilkis.
Well, most of the movie
Where you
takes
from?
place
I'm
on
from
Bilkis.
Where you from? I'm from Bilkis.
Yeah, I'm Bilkian.
At the bar, Supergirl starts fighting the brigands, and what am I trying to say?
What?
Hey, we can reschedule, dude. It's okay.
Catches the attention of Lobo, the bounty hunter, played by Jason Momoa, who in the DCEU played Aquaman, and Jason Momoa is a perfect fit for Lobo, and he is having just so much fun.
Yeah. If you don't know who Lobo is, after like even before watching this movie, if you look up a picture of what Lobo looks like it's literally like identical to Jason Momoa. Like it looks like just like him.
Jason Momoa is a great fit.
I remember like vividly, like I was next to my dad and I was like, "Oh my god, Jason Momoa's playing Lobo." My dad looks at me and he goes, "Okay." And I was like, "Dad, this is like fake news."
Okay.
He was like, "Oh, I like Aquaman." I'm like, "Yeah, me too," but like
So they spend a bunch of time on Bilkis doing various different things. Lobo is after the Brigands Lieutenant Drom Baxton, which is why he at all works with Supergirl.
yeah, because he's like a bounty hunter.
Yeah. So Supergirl meets up with Bomar and Marek, who say they have a friend who knows the Brigands. They feed her some poisoned milk, but because she's Kryptonian and Bilkis has a yellow sun, the poison just kind of makes her feel kind of bad, and she throws up a little bit, but she doesn't get paralyzed. And the Brigands come down expecting to claim Kara Zor-El as their bride. And that isn't going to happen. Lobo and Supergirl fight off many of the Brigands. And Supergirl stops Ruthie from killing Krem, because Ruthie's goal is to kill Krem, but Supergirl stops it. She says that revenge is not, you're not going to live well. If you get revenge, the best revenge is living well. But Ruthie's upset, and that stop actually allows Krem to kill Bomar Marek and their daughter. Now, Supergirl is not really happy about her decision here. She goes up into space, has a self-reflective moment, and then goes back down to Bilkis, finds out that the Brigands are moving to a different planet called Barrington, And so she heads over to Barrington, and she is followed by Ruthie. And okay, this is where the green sun starts becoming a thing.
Oh, like the kryptonite.
I just want to say before we continue, me and my family from Bilkis went on a vacation to Barrington.
This is also, before we get into the green sun particularly, this is where
like the kryptonite, you mean?
Yeah, this is where we find out Kara Zor-El's backstory, and it's kind of sprinkled in a little bit throughout the whole thing.
I actually really like the way they did that.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna do it all at once. Yeah, because I'm a bad person. So
average Bilkis resident.
Average Bilkis fan. Dude, the Virgin Bilkis fan versus the Chad Barrington enjoyer. So, as you know, probably, the planet Krypton was destroyed. The core was unstable, and it exploded, and
No spoilers.
Spoilers.
And they sent this family, I don't remember Superman's dad's name.
Jor-El.
Jor-El. So Jor-El, whose brother is Zor-El, Jor-El sent Kal-El in a escape pod to Earth. But Zor-El didn't want to. His wife is named Allura. Why do the women get normal names on Krypton? No one knows. So they decided...
Sorry, that's actually a good question.
That's actually a valid question, yeah.
So they... Zor-El has developed this force field that will go around the capital city of Argo City and go up into the air. And it will become its own, essentially, autonomous planet.
Yeah.
And it prevents it from being destroyed when the core explodes. Zor-El is then... Zor-El and Allura have a child named Kara. In case you didn't realize, that's Supergirl.
Wait, that's the title of the movie. No,
Sure.
right? The Supergirl.
Oh.
Yeah.
What movie did you watch?
Kara Zor-El.
Kara Zor-El.
Yeah. Y'all were watching Supergirl. I was watching Kara Zor-El. And
So eventually what they found out is that when they separated Argo City from Krypton, it exposed a mineral called kryptonite, which creates this radiation that's very toxic to the citizens of Krypton and, by extension, Argo City. So Allura dies from the radiation. Zor-El also gets sick from the radiation, and during Allura's funeral, Kara finds a dog. And so then Zor-El decides to reconfigure the escape pod that Kal-El was sent to Earth in as a bigger escape pod to send Kara and Krypto back down to Earth, where they will be met by Kal-El, who is Superman. If you missed that, you should watch the 2025 film Superman. It really explains a lot about Superman.
we talked about it earlier.
So Kara then tries to adjust to her life on Earth, but she doesn't like it, so she leaves, and now she finds herself on Barrington, who's being ridden with radiation via the green sun. How is there what does that mean?
I have a theory. I have a
Yeah.
theory.
Wait, what's your theory?
So I don't know about you, Max. I've never heard of a green sun
Me neither.
causing the kryptonite effect.
Like, is it made fully of Krypton? I don't know.
Well, what I was thinking, I was like, I wonder if kryptonite so I started actually getting like pretty scientific while I'm sitting here watching the movie, trying to work out the science in my head. So I, like you think of how there are elements here on Earth that emit radiation.
Yeah.
So I was like, obviously kryptonite, it emits a sort of radiation, and I was wondering if that sun just emits the same type of radiation as kryptonite, right? And I wonder if it's like, is it like, maybe it's not like maybe it's like, I don't know. And this is where it's like, it's also, you have to keep in mind, she can shoot lasers out of her eyes, so it's not going to be like totally accurate, but it's like, maybe it's like green light and UV light is like that radiation, or because like, I don't know if the UV light spectrum changes based off of the color of the sun. Does that make sense? Like,
maybe.
Would a red sun emit different UV light than a yellow sun than a green sun? Does that make sense? Like,
well, so the thing is that light as waves, like what we describe as UV light, it's just a certain class of light based on the wavelength and the frequency of the light.
I see.
And we call it UV light because when we look at the visible light spectrum, it's a spectrum from red to purple pinkish, right?
Yeah.
So when we call waves that fall on the spectrum such that we can't see them because they are less than red. We call those infrared.
Oh,
waves.
yeah, that's right.
If they are
Ultra.
greater than pink, they're called ultraviolet.
Oh,
But
that's
we can't
right.
see them because they exist in frequencies and wavelengths.
Yeah, bro,
Professor
I was-
Jesse over here,
I was,
dude.
I was about to say, I was not that good in science.
Yeah,
class. I was
so-
not that good in science.
So I wonder if maybe it's just like, I don't know, like a specific set. Because obviously it wouldn't be green visible light because she goes into clubs where they're blasting different colored lights.
Well, the
Yeah,
thing
like
with-
the
thing with
green one
green-
doesn't hit.
yeah.
The thing with green visible light as a color is that it falls in the middle of the spectrum. There's no way to make an extreme green light.
Exactly.
As far as we
Right.
know.
So
right.
I
It
wonder
just doesn't-
if it's like a specific subsect of UV light, like a specific like set of frequency, like range of frequencies of UV light. Like maybe that's what it is.
Maybe,
Possibly
yeah.
That's why. Like who
It just could be
knows?
talk. Yeah, maybe like the
I
same
guess it's
type
just a
that's in.
coincidence that it happens to be the same color as kryptonite. Like,
I guess.
I don't know.
Or maybe it is. I don't know.
Or maybe it is like maybe those green colored things are emitting the same frequency of UV light, which I know is probably not like actually scientific, but like I said, she can fly and shoot lasers out of her eyes, so I don't know how much we need to worry about real life science, but that was what I was thinking. I was like, maybe that's what
Yeah.
they're going for, but I've never heard of that. And also, in my opinion, if you're making a movie, you don't want your audience to be sitting there trying to work out the science instead of watching it, you know?
It's
Yeah,
true.
because then that means that there's probably something that's not totally accurate.
Yeah.
At least introduce the idea of a green sun before we're introduced to it. And yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like, it's also like the color of the sun doesn't reflect on the UV light it produces because we can't see UV light. So
Yeah,
there wouldn't be a delineate. Like, our sun wouldn't be yellow or red if it was only producing UV light.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
would be nothing.
Yeah, at this point, like I alluded to this earlier, but at this point in the movie, like there's a couple seconds where I got really excited, like when the green light came down, because I thought that the planet she was on was next to the planet Oa, which this is where I'm pulling out my DC comic side of me, where it's
I
like
actually don't know this.
where Oa is the planet of the Green Lantern, which if you don't know, the next project in the DCU is Lanterns. So I thought that
That
there's
would've
going to be
been
something that
tough.
she passes by that and like Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, and I got like a little excited, and then obviously she
Yeah.
got sick, which.
Max got a little boner while he was watching.
Wait, I was like, wait, are they gonna show? And then they didn't. I was like-
No. So
and then she started coughing, and I was like,
yeah, so Kara's dying, and then Ruthie gets kidnapped. So things aren't going great for our heroes.
what are they gonna do?
Tell us, Jesse.
So Ruthie is imprisoned by the brigands. So is Lobo. Ruthie escapes her cell by begging to see Krem, and then she's eventually let out. But then she attacks the guard, takes their keys, and frees Lobo. And then it's also revealed that the planet revolves around two suns, which is, not an unbelievable idea. Star Wars is built on a planet like that.
Tatooine.
But one of those suns is yellow and the other one is green. If you were trying to take her to a planet with a green sun, I don't see why you would pick also the one that has a yellow sun.
Maybe it's just hard to find a green sun.
Okay, then just put her in a ship and orbit around the green sun.
Oh,
That way the yellow
Yeah.
sun doesn't even come into it.
That
She's
is
just
true.
orbiting around the green
But
sun.
like, take one good look at Krim. Not the type of guy I would give like an A+ in any sort of subject.
I mean, I think just in this third act, we get a lot of moments that are like, well, that's convenient. It's
Yeah,
a little too
yeah.
convenient.
Yeah.
for,
And
for
that
that
is
to be a
true.
thing.
Also,
And-
at this point, the design of Krem was just so distracting. Like the piercings on his face. I was
Yeah,
like,
he's
no,
got-
who looked at that and was like, yep, that'll do
I
it.
think so. He's got studs in his face, but think about it. If you try to punch him in the face, you're gonna get bruised. Maybe that's what it's protection for.
What if you have like powerful gloves?
Dude,
on?
it's like real life thorns from Minecraft.
Thorns are real life thorns from Minecraft.
What?
You ever played Minecraft?
Oh wait, yeah.
Like never mind. Back to the
Okay.
topic of the podcast.
So it's been a minute.
Thorns
It's
is
been
an
a minute.
enchantment that you can put on your armor in Minecraft.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that far in Minecraft. I used to just play creative mode and like build random stuff.
Yeah, Max wouldn't even make it to the Nether.
So, speaking of things that were a little too convenient, Ruthie's like, "Oh, by the way, I stopped by your ship and grabbed your Supergirl suit because Krem left it behind, I guess."
Yeah.
So that just kind of happened.
Yeah.
So then when the yellow sun comes down, she puts on the suit, and then starts flying around town.
The fact that most of the movie she's wearing a Blondie shirt and her Supergirl costume is so funny to me.
So she goes and starts fighting the brigands, and there's a whole fight scene. During that fight scene, they decide to play. Okay, so they play "The Middle" by Jimmy Eat World.
Not this one. It's a fight that happens after.
I thought it was the same. Well, okay.
It's like at the very end when
it's like
she
at the-
gets like
remember
when
they're on
Supergirl
the-
gets like her aura forming moment.
Yeah, because it's like, remember, like they're fighting on top of the ship, and then Lobo comes in because Ruthie. Wow, not Ruthie. Wow, that would be bad. Where Ruthie breaks out Lobo as well. And then they fight on the ship, and then they go down, and then they have like the Mad Maxy kind of thing where like all the cars are going around.
Yeah.
This needle drop, I swear to God, was like one of the worst needle drops I think I've seen in recent memory.
So I love "The Middle" by Jimmy Eat World. It's one of my favorite songs.
It's a good song, but the cover, like, why was she singing in cursive?
Can you imagine?
She was singing in cursive.
Imagine if a duck was singing "The Middle" by Jimmy Eat World in minor key? That's the needle drop that we got.
I guess. Like, I was gonna see if I could find it, but we probably can't play that on the podcast.
No, definitely not.
Okay, yeah.
Listen, if you know what singing in cursive sounds like, that's
Actor
basically
learns copyright laws.
No, but it's like, yeah, it's so bad.
You should watch the movie, and then you'll know.
Yeah, just skip to the end and witness. I mean, it sounds like Halsey.
It was a strange pick for.
Yeah,
and Craig Gillespie later went on like a podcast and blamed James Gunn for picking that needle drop.
Really?
Yeah.
My man.
Which surprises me because usually I'm a huge fan of James Gunn's song picks.
Not that one.
And I'm like, I don't know.
The gun was jammed.
Yeah. The gun was jammed.
The gun was jammed. But yeah, I remember the woman next to me was like eating her popcorn. I just heard her go, "Oh. What?" And I was just like, I know, me too. You don't have to. I just kept looking at her because I kept just like side eyeing. I was just like, oh no, you probably can't see because this is audio podcast. But I was just like, side eyeing like every 2 seconds. I was like,
Yeah. So Ruthie then goes to kill Krem, but Supergirl's like, don't kill Krem. The best revenge is living well. You know, you don't want to be like me, 23-year-old unemployed. And so
I already forgot all the planet's name, so that's bad.
Bilkis,
Bilkia,
and
Alfred Bilkis.
Barrington. Like the Bears.
Barrington Bears.
Berenstein Bears.
So then Ruthie walks away, and then Supergirl takes her sword and then just kills Krem. So she takes the antidote, returns to Crypto, saving him just in the nick of time.
So Krem wears it like a necklace. I'm like, you want to probably store that somewhere where you can keep it safe. Oh yeah,
the antidote.
Like,
because I was.
What if you trip and fall and break it? Like, that's gonna be on you, buddy.
Well, there's so many brigands around here. I'm sure that Krem's antidote wasn't the only one.
Imagine how many of them were fired.
So Ruthie goes to live with her aunt for a while. Supergirl finishes celebrating her birthday and then goes to Earth to reunite with Superman, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna stay here for a while. And then Crypto starts eating chocolate, and Superman's like, don't do that. Uh-oh. It's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Credits.
I really did like that ending. I think I'm just a sucker for David Cornswell's Superman. I love him so much.
Even this movie, I'm just like, I'm so glad we got like a human Superman.
His little like cameo, of just him being like, I will say, Superman still was like perfect in this movie. Supergirl, like Superman was perfect. All of his stuff.
I hate to say it, but the parts that have Superman were my favorite parts of Supergirl, and that's the one thing I didn't want to say. Like, I feel like I've expressed this before, but
it sounds sexist.
The one thing
the
one thing I didn't want to say about Supergirl in a Supergirl movie, I didn't want to say that Superman was the best part because, like, why should Superman be the best part of the Supergirl movie?
Yeah,
but he was. So,
yeah.
Yeah, so credits have rolled on Supergirl. Walking out of the theater, what did y'all think about Supergirl?
I thought to myself, I was like, that's the second best movie in the DCU.
I mean, I thought something similar. As I have a huge soft spot for Superman 2025 in my heart. So obviously, I knew going in it was not going to beat Superman, and I walked out being like, it's no Superman, but I liked it. It was good. I have done. I don't know how you guys like to structure the podcast, but I've done reflecting since we talked like immediately after watching the movie of what I might rate it, and I've come up with like a solid like this is what I would give the movie, but I don't know if we're here yet.
We'll do ratings at the
Okay.
end when we're done discussing. We like to do them all in one like fell swoop. We compare each other's ratings, but yeah, for now we shall discuss what we thought about the rest of the movie, and I have to say it was mid. I know there's a thing with the word mid where a lot of people say mid to mean bad.
It was so mid.
It was so mid. It was so bad.
This is
truly an average movie. It's like if you've seen a superhero movie, you've seen probably 80 to 85% of Supergirl.
Yeah,
just any superhero.
It's a pretty run of the mill comic book movie, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, not inherently.
Not inherently.
Not inherently. I mean,
because look,
it's a movie. It's a movie.
The comic book genre, as it were, is not necessarily a bad genre. I'm not gonna say that all comic book movies are bad. There are comic book movies that I like, and I don't think that a comic book movie with its genre tropes is necessarily different from any other genre with its genre tropes, right? Like I'm a sucker for slashers, and all slashers are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
So like it's fine, if you like comic book movies and you like them even though they are all very similar, like that's a totally valid viewpoint to take. If you're not that kind of person, if you're not the person that says these are the genre tropes that work for me, you're going to be disappointed by what's actually present in this movie because it's mostly genre tropes, and there are a couple of things that are done well. Superman is really good in this, right? I really want to see more Superman. Millie Alcock is a great actor, and
she's really so good. Yeah. She's so good.
She's a really good Supergirl. The movie holds her back a little bit, but she's really good in that role. Eve Ridley gives a really good performance. Jason Momoa is having so much fun being Lobo, and it's impossible to be anything but entertained when he's on screen. All of that being said, it does not save this movie from its general plotting issues, tone issues, and convenient writing.
Yeah, I certainly don't think it comes from the actors and actresses at all. It's certainly, I think, would come from... I actually think it would... I don't know. Writing or directing, I don't know. You guys know a little bit more about both of those than I do.
Yeah.
I will say, with Lobo... I liked Lobo. I feel like, I don't know if this is going to be a hot take or not. I liked Lobo. I did. I agree. Super entertaining to watch. But I was kind of just like, what? Like, take him out of the plot? Other than saving them conveniently a few times, like, what's his purpose?
Yeah, he doesn't really have, like, it's cool to see him. Like, the casting, at least for me, is exciting, but
like,
he's just kind of there.
Yeah, because I thought that it was going to be like, they were all going to team up and like be like, like the unlikely team, like of heroes who you never thought would come together. Like I thought, and that's a classic trope. And I thought that was what they were going to go for. And then they didn't. They kind of missed the mark on that because Lobo he was a static character. He never really changed. And so he never really teamed up with them. He was kind of just conveniently there, right place, right time,
And this is something that also, I think, it has become more evident about James Gunn's style, is that very often there'll be a situation in which he kind of invites someone to a piece of media because he enjoys spending time with them more than it actually benefits the story. I think the biggest example is in Peacemaker Season 2, the Foxy Shazam party boat.
Yeah, that... with the final episode, I'm like, that we did not need to see that.
What do you mean?
Like the whole flashback, like that, we did not need to see all
No, I thought that was the... We're not talking about Peacemaker, but I disagree.
I look, as much as this isn't a Peacemaker podcast, I also think that that moment, specifically as it were in the show, is best left unsaid because throughout the entire show, we know what happened there. The only reason we really filmed that scene was so that James Gunn could hang out with Foxy Shazam.
Yeah, he made it for himself. That's my thing.
That's Peacemaker, but here it feels similar, right? Jason Momoa was brought on because was fun. Like, I guess James Gunn liked working with him on the DCEU on some level or liked working with him on some other project, and that's why he brought him on. And I know we're harping on James Gunn even though he didn't direct this movie, but that's one of the things that's inescapable about this movie is that it feels like it's a James Gunn movie. It feels like Craig Gillespie is trying to direct a James Gunn movie, so his fingerprints are all over this thing.
Yeah, which gets me a little bit worried for other filmmakers who come in. I guess I'll give my thoughts on the movie. I thought it was fine. Like, walking out of the theater, like, I thought it was okay. But I think the biggest thing for me was with tone. Whereas like I was reading after I read Woman of Tomorrow, like back when I first got it. That book is a lot darker than this movie, and the thing I was most excited about was that they touch on it a little bit in this movie, but I don't think they fully go into it, of just like the difference between Superman and Supergirl. Is that like Superman, he's the more like the friendlier version, like the more like humane guy.
He's hopeful,
and like Supergirl's like more rough around the edges, and like she was someone who was like 9 or 10 when she saw like Krypton blow up, where Superman was an infant, it was blown off. To where it's like she like sat there and watched that, and like the book actually deals with a lot of the trauma she goes through. And in this movie, it's just like, it does a little bit of that and then does like the silly, corny stuff, and then has like weird song choices, which we touched on, where it's just like, just an odd mix of everything that I don't know if it fully worked. But it's like a fine run-of-the-mill comic book movie. But I will say this, and this is not a particularly high bar, but if anybody listening has seen the original 1984 Supergirl, which is one of the worst comic book movies I've ever seen, yes, this movie is better. I know it doesn't sound like a high bar, but like this movie was much better than that one. That movie has Supergirl, where her planet's about to blow up. She goes to Earth and then decides to enroll in college instead of saving her family. Like, what? Like, that's that movie. And then this one, I'm just like, okay, like it's fine, but like it's way better, way better than that one.
So on the topic of comparing Supergirls, I also like this way better than the CW Supergirl. I don't know.
I do as well, yeah.
I don't know, Jesse, if you're familiar with it. So, like, it's Melissa Benoist in the CW Supergirl. And it's it's the first few seasons of the show are good. I've watched it. But she's just, in that one, she's just a female Superman. And,
they don't do anything special with her.
Yeah, they don't really do anything special with her. And that is, like... That's what I like better about this movie, is that it's not a female Superman. You know, she is Supergirl. Also, I think one of my biggest gripes with the film is that I do not think, and I said this actually to you guys almost immediately after we saw it, was I don't think that she earned putting the suit on, or at least, and maybe it just comes from a writing standpoint, is they, like, I'm a firm believer that it, like, if you have a thesis statement of the movie, just say it. Just say it. Like, have some character say it, you know, like, especially if it's comic book movie where it's not that deep, you know, like, I feel like the thesis of this one was, and I guess they did say it, but not in relation to her putting the suit on, was like, you don't have to be perfect to be a good person, or like, you know, you can
literally
like,
a line.
You don't like,
line,
and that literally is a line, or like, you don't have to be nice to be good. Like, but the problem is she realizes all of this while she's like unconscious, you know, like I almost would have rathered like her come to that conclusion in a conversation with like Clark, or like somehow like if they're similar to how Clark has in like the Fortress of Solitude with the holograms of his parents. If she had somehow a hologram of her parents and was able to speak to her father one last time, or her mother, you know, and that way I feel like then I feel like it would have justified her putting on the suit, because what happened was she just woke up from being kryptonite poisoned and then put the suit on.
Yeah,
like, you know,
and that was kind of my frustration with it, like coming back to like, because like the comics like give her like a really good like thing to deal with, where like she's processing, like she's like more rough around the edges, like she's not afraid to kill somebody, like she doesn't have like a set of rules really, and she's someone who's like dealing with the loss, where like she literally watched an entire planet with people she cared about blow up, and it's like here it's only told through flashbacks. And I think even as you say that, like I could tell that they were maybe doing some reshoots or like recutting some stuff, because they did a lot of test screenings for this movie, which got like various reactions. So like I can tell that they were probably like cutting scenes around and like remove some stuff to make it flow a little bit better. But I just feel like some of that stuff's a little bit missing.
So I want to push back on what Brody was saying a little bit, because I do not think that stating the thesis of your movie out loud makes it better. I think it actually removes depth. I point to a movie like Tron Ares, Which,
never seen
That would have been my last pick.
So if you look at our podcast on Tron Ares, and this isn't me plugging the podcast, this is me just saying like this is something that we brought up in criticism of that movie. That movie lacks depth almost entirely because anything the movie wants to say is said out loud.
Okay.
It makes the movie have very little staying power, and ultimately, as a writer, I think what you want to do is get your audience to your thesis without having to say it out loud, right?
Yeah.
You want it to be a little bit more subtextual. And I think on that level, this movie does a good job because you got there. You figured out what this movie was saying.
Yeah.
And so, and it didn't say it out loud. I mean, like it had a couple lines that were very similar to the thesis, but as you said, you thought it would have been better if they said it out loud. What that means is that it transmitted its message through subtext, which I think was very effective.
Yeah.
I think that what the problem with the movie is, and I think what the problem that you're identifying is that this movie plays to the audience a lot more than it plays to its own characters. It's a lot of looking at the camera and winking and being like, hey, this is Lobo. He's played by Jason Momoa. You remember Jason Momoa. And it feels like that's what a lot of the bits are. It feels a lot of, they're not outright breaking the fourth wall, but the audience is intended to get more from the movie than the characters are. You know, the events of the movie are more for us than they are for necessarily anyone else. And I think what you're noticing is that the movie tries to justify to the audience why the suit is going to come into the fray, not necessarily to Kara why she should put on the suit.
Yeah.
'Cause, like you said, she discovers all this while unconscious, dying from radiation sickness. This is all flashbacks that we're seeing as the audience, that we're making inferences of, saying, oh, this is the point of the movie, and now that the point of the movie has been revealed, we're going to see the selling point of the movie, which is
Her
Supergirl in the suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
But to Kara, it doesn't mean much because these aren't actual events that occurred. These are flashbacks that we're seeing. And it's very intentional that they put them in this way as a nod to the audience, but it makes the character moments ring hollow.
Yeah. I completely agree with what
too.
you're saying, Jesse. Now that yes, I agree with that. I think I misidentified the point of why it didn't hit hard, but now that I think about it, I agree with what you're saying.
It's something that drives me nuts. Even in movies that people like, of just like anytime messages are said out loud, just drives me nuts. Like I'll say it, Barbie did it for me, and that was like my least favorite part of that movie. Like remember
America Ferrera's crash out.
Her monologue where she was like, it's almost impossible to be a woman, and then she says like the whole thing out loud, and it's just like,
I don't know. I appreciated it. I think at least maybe Barbie specifically, because it's a topic about, you know, feminism and like women's kind of struggles.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that stuff isn't always said out loud, and I think maybe it finally should be said out loud. Does that make sense?
I think this all ties back to what I like to call the ending theorem, which is that if you show someone your script or your novel or whatever piece of art and they say that they didn't like the ending, the problem is probably not with the ending. The problem is how you built up to it. Because as an audience, we are not always the best at figuring out what actually needed to be changed with the movie. What we know is that we didn't like a part of the movie. So when we look at a case like Supergirl and a case like Barbie, we're actually looking at two different cases.
Yeah.
It depends how the movie is structured around saying that thing out loud. Barbie as a concept is in your face, right? The idea of Barbie, like literally it's pervasive. They say that at the very beginning is like all these ancient peoples playing with Barbie dolls, right? And this giant Barbie doll is like the monolith of the start of 2001. Like it's in your face. It's constructed to be in your face.
Yeah.
Barbie Land as this heightened state of, you know, exaggeration.
But like it never like says it out loud.
Of essentially at the beginning, Barbie Land is the complete opposite of what the patriarchy and the real world is, essentially.
That's a lot of what that movie does well, and then that monologue kicked in. I was like, you blew it.
Right.
I don't know. I just disagree.
For me personally.
Okay.
Like,
I mean,
me personally, I don't like being preached to in movies.
Yeah,
I'm just about like, I'm not saying it's a bad message. Like, obviously, like I am the opposite. I think it's a great message that people should hear.
Yeah.
But just like, I don't like it when it's said out loud because it makes me kind of feel stupid. I'm just like, do you really have to tell me?
I think, and I'm not disagreeing. I think I'm disagreeing with you on. Specifically, I think in that movie, in that context, you might need to preach it because
maybe
one day or another, it's just not going to get across, you know?
Maybe there's some truth to that.
Yeah, and I think, again, it all depends on different people watching the same movie because we're all different people. We're all going to have... no one has exactly the same opinion on a movie as somebody else. That's just not possible. But ultimately...
I'll just say, I like that movie. Don't come at me in the comments. I like that movie.
I really like Barbie.
I like that movie. I saw it twice in theaters.
Ultimately, I think the point
and Max is also 6'5", by the way.
No, the point I'm really trying to make here is that a lot of times when we identify a flashpoint that we don't like, a little bit that we don't like, it isn't always about that bit that they need to do better. Sometimes it's about how they built up to that bit, because that bit might be the point. So when we're looking at the turn of Kara, like literally the moment that she becomes Supergirl, we're looking, that moment doesn't sell. Why does it not sell? It's not because the moment itself is bad. She should become Supergirl at some point. It's because they didn't build up to it in a way that made sense for the character.
Yeah.
They only built up to it in a way that made sense for the audience.
Yeah. And at this point, like, I could feel the movie was being reworked a little bit.
Yes, definitely.
Like, there's some scenes where, like, they clearly did not go back to back, but I just feel like in reshoots, like, oh, that part didn't work, but this works logically.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's definitely frustrating, but that is unfortunately one of my biggest issues with the movie.
Yeah.
It's just that it is constructed in such a way that it's not really for the benefit of the movie. It's for the benefit of me, and I didn't feel very benefited by it.
Yeah. And I would say definitely read the graphic novel if you get a chance. It's very good. And I feel like it actually like highlights some of the things that
I'm gonna have to read it now.
Like the little parts of this movie that are like hints of what could have been.
Yeah.
I feel like that the book has a lot more of that. Where I just feel like that's the distinction between Superman and Supergirl. Not just because one's a man, one's a woman, but like they come from two very different backgrounds. One grew up on Earth, one spent her childhood on Krypton while it was blowing up.
Right. Yeah. Tonally, I would say this movie reminds me of a James Gunn movie. And if not a James Gunn movie, it's a Craig Gillespie movie, which I think is to its detriment. I think if James Gunn had directed it, he would have pulled off a lot of that stuff a lot more because that's in his wheelhouse, that's in his style.
Yeah.
Which was very frustrating to see. And visually, it looks like Star Wars.
Yeah, a little bit.
It looks like sequel Star Wars.
Yeah, it looks like Disney Star Wars. But even still, even in like the prequels, you just walk into a bar and there's a weird alien that's there, and it's like that's like
a weird alien walks into a bar.
Okay, you go into a place and there are no other humans other than our main characters, right? If they have it's always this weird, crazy alien design that they clearly, it's like, all right, let's throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks. I always find it a little frustrating when it's like, oh, look at all these different weird species of alien, and it's like...
It's really a line in The Force Awakens, like, don't stare.
It's also like, that's probably, like, okay, I know, first of all, I would like to say to the podcast, I am extremely biased because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but also,
so am I.
I think I have a very specific opinion on alien life, and it's easier to do now with the technology that you have with movies, and that's that your aliens, like in real life, if you know, aliens probably look nothing like humans. You know, sometimes you can't really get around that because you want, you know, humans are making the movies, you need a human actor.
Disclosure day.
But like that's why I like when aliens, they try at least to not make them look completely humanoid, because like Project Hail Mary.
Yeah, Rocky. Yeah,
my favorite example of that.
Great.
I love the design of Rocky.
Not humanoid at all, but that could be intelligent life out there, and you would never know. Now I get what you're saying with it looking Star Warsy, because it's always like lizardy, like scaly, humanoid-ish aliens with lots of different eyes.
It's like a blob,
that is very
heads.
Star Warsy. Yeah.
I think, okay, my problem with it is twofold. Number one, it's too much. Yeah. Every side character is an alien character, and at a certain point, there's so much visual information that I cannot follow who I'm talking to anymore, who's saying what. Number two, Project Hail Mary has one alien design.
Yeah.
Star Wars and Supergirl, every character is a different alien.
Yeah.
There's no
repeat species. You look at this in Star Wars, I haven't seen a guy that looks like Greedo.
I was just thinking about Greedo.
Movie.
Yeah.
Yes, you have.
Yes, you have.
In the Phantom Menace.
In the Phantom Menace.
Where's Greedo in the Phantom Menace?
Anakin's not Greedo, but one of little Anakin's friends is the same species as Greedo.
Yeah, take that.
Wow,
but that's like ultra, or not like ultra, but like
I watched that movie.
You do have to be like you have to like have seen the movies multiple times to remember.
I mean,
let's count down some other characters. Watto, Klaus.
This is true.
Bosk. None of these guys have equals. They're all different designs, and like I get that you want to make it look vast, but you're just making it look disconnected.
No, but I like that stuff though.
I don't. I think it looks...
And it's also like the same guy who thinks that the Alien Disclosure Day looks straight out of the Star Wars prequels, but that's just me.
The alien from Disclosure Day
looks like shit.
Wait, I haven't seen it.
It looks so bad. It looks so bad. I hate it.
It's pretty bad.
It's like that and the Alien from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Like they just copied and pasted it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. So
I never thought I'd rank those two movies the same, but here we are.
yeah, so those are my big issues with Supergirl. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it either. Like, I coming out of it, I was like, okay, that was fun, but like on reflection, it does not hold together super well as a movie. Should we discuss the future of the DCU now? Like, is this a good time?
Yeah. Do we give rating? Is the ratings like very, very end?
Yeah, ratings very, very end. So future of the DCU. Later this year, we have Lanterns and we have Clayface, which are kind of disconnected from Supergirl in a lot of ways, but we're getting Supergirl probably is going to show up again in Man of Tomorrow next year.
She is.
I imagine, It would be weird if she didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm very concerned by the construction of the DCU as it stands.
Yeah, when I watched Peacemaker season 2 and now Supergirl, I'm just like, ooh. I'm very worried about the future.
Okay, first of all, what is it building up to?
Yeah.
I don't see it building up to a whole lot of anything. Number 2, by 2027, the DCU will have been going for 3 years.
Yeah.
It will have had 6 total projects, I believe.
Yeah.
That
included in it.
In my opinion... Okay, sorry, keep going.
The 6 projects in 3 years, that's not a big deal. 2 projects a year, that's totally reasonable.
Yeah, I was like,
for a cinematic universe.
That's very reasonable, yeah.
50% of those projects are Superman family adjacent.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of the projects that aren't, most of them connect back to Superman in a pretty tangible way. Lex Luthor is in Peacemaker season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clayface is different, but Clayface is also in Creature Commandos, and also Clayface is a complete outlier because we are not going to get a Batman DCU movie for a very long time because Matt Reeves' Batman is running alongside the DCU right now, and that's an Elseworlds project.
Why would you do a Clayface movie before a Batman movie? That's so bizarre to me.
And look at how Batman is looking in the DCU, right? Look at all the Elseworlds projects that are coming out. We're getting probably 2 more Matt Reeves Batman movies. One in 2027, probably one in 2030 something.
I mean, Batman was in Creature Commandos.
Was he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that at all. But
there's a bit with one of the main villains that the reason he got busted was because of Batman.
So we have Batman in Elseworlds as Matt Reeves' Batman. That's a whole saga. That's going to be a trilogy probably, and then also the Penguin. We might even get another spin-off TV show from that.
Love the Penguin.
Also have Dynamic Duo coming out. That's also Batman related. A lot of what we're getting from Batman is completely in Elseworlds and not at all related to the DCU, which concerns me significantly because Batman is undebatably the second biggest superhero in DC.
Yeah.
Which
I would say, I may even say, and I'm a huge Superman fan, I would even say that Batman might be the biggest superhero in the DCU.
Certainly Superman and Batman are 1 and 2. It's weird that we're not getting Batman, but we're getting Batman as like a presence. It makes me worried because how are you going, because obviously what you're building up to is the Justice League. That's the Avengers of DC, right? Yeah. That's what you have to do if you want to have a DC universe. Eventually they're going to be a Justice League.
Which is why I'm banking on Lanterns. Because if you remember in James Gunn's announcement video, he said Lanterns is going to tease something that will set the course of the DCU. That's why I'm banking on Lanterns. If Lanterns fails at that,
so here are my opinions. I think there's a lot. You have to look Actually, you have to look a lot at Marvel and the mistakes that Marvel has recently made. To kind of see where the DCU has to learn. And from their own mistakes in the past, obviously. I'm glad that they're taking it slow and they're not doing too many projects because, again, we all know that Marvel shat the bed because they did quantity over quality, honestly.
Yes,
I kind of like that they're just slowly pushing out stuff.
I do agree with the fact that they need to get a DCU Batman on the table ASAP.
Yeah.
Because
we have the Brave and the Bold.
It is like... We have the Brave and the Bold, but do we know when that's coming out?
No, we don't know when it's coming out. It's not coming out next year. It's probably not even coming out the year after that because those 2 years both have Batman Elseworlds projects, and I doubt they would double book a year with Batman.
Yeah. And so, and this is difficult now because I'm sure they have contracts or whatever to finish it, Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Yeah.
And that's like nice and all. I don't know. Okay, this is gonna be an unpopular opinion because so many people loved Robert Pattinson's Batman. But if I was James Gunn, and or whoever is like really in charge there,
James Gunn, yeah, and Peter Safran.
If I was James Gunn and Peter Safran, and I was thinking about the DCU as a whole, or maybe because, you know, there's Elseworlds, which isn't DCU, and they have to think about DC as a company. But if I was thinking about the DCU specifically, like, I would say delay, like, either cancel or delay the future of Robert Pattinson's Batman, just because you need to get, or incorporate Pattinson's Batman, and I know that wouldn't work either. But if you're saying like you're worried about the future and they need to get a Batman on, there's got to be a solution. Because no, I don't think you should be releasing two Batmans in the two Batman different Batman movies in the same year. It's confusing. But it's like you need a Batman, you know, like because he is a kind of a looming presence right now, but he's not there, and it's like we're waiting so long for him to get there, and it's like it'd be like having, this is going to be a weird comparison, but it'd be like having Marvel where you have Iron Man and Captain America is only ever like referenced here and there. You know, like I feel like that's kind of what it's like in a way.
So what I want to say about the DCU as it relates to the MCU also is that the MCU also started in a very rocky spot. Because Iron Man was a Z-list superhero. Like, he was part of the Avengers, but he was not the most popular member.
He was like a B to C. He was like a B tier.
By far,
superhero.
I think by far the most popular Marvel superhero, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am, is Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man didn't show up until Captain America: Civil War. Which was like phase 2 or 3.
At least in the MCU, but like in modern comic book movies, it was like Blade, X-Men, and Tobey
I
Maguire
think
Spider-Man.
I think that's one of people's biggest like wishes, or at least my biggest wish with the MCU was, man, I wish that we got to have a Spider-Man sooner.
But you realize that what's happened with the MCU with Spider-Man is the exact same thing that happened with the DCU right now with Batman. There was another concurrent Spider-Man series that was planned to be a trilogy that was running alongside the MCU. The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. Those two movies came out while the MCU was doing its run, and we didn't get a Spider-Man Homecoming until 2 or 3 years after that series ended.
Also because they had to fight for rights and everything.
Right.
Yeah, and also like TASM 2 did so bad that they're just like, we're rebooting Spider-Man again.
The good thing, at least with the DCU, is they won't have to have a rights battle for Batman.
That's true. And what I will say is that I don't think the DCU is doomed because they don't have Batman. I think, yes.
No, they're not.
It's weird that Clayface is coming up before Batman. It's weird that Batman exists in this universe, but we don't get to see him. We don't know who he is.
I think it's kind of cool that Clayface is coming out before Batman. In my opinion, actually. Yeah. I think it's cool. I think, not for nothing, we don't know much about Clayface, you know? And maybe there is going to be more of a Batman presence there. And it'll kind of... This is gonna sound weird. It'll kind of tease us a little bit, like he's here. You know, like we're like we know you're waiting for him. But
that's why like I'm not checked out yet. But like my plan to fix the DCU is one that can't be done because my thing would have been after Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom, as if I was head of Warner Brothers and I was like in charge of DC. Because like they announced the slate early 2023 when the Flash, Blue Beetle, Aquaman hadn't come out. Yeah. All three of those flopped at the box office. Yeah. Well, actually no, Aquaman made profit, but not as much as the first one.
Aquaman was the most popular.
After that, I would have been like, okay, we're taking a 5 to 10 year gap, and we're changing course. Close out Robert Pattinson's because we're having that right now, so that's closed out. Then start completely fresh. No Peacemaker, none of this. Oh, this is canon. This is not canon. Start fresh.
I agree.
That's what I would have done if I was in that shoes. Marvel should have done the same thing after Endgame.
I will say the scariest thing about the DCU as it stands right now is that they aren't building up to anything. The first arc of the MCU was built up to at the first movie. Introduced the idea of the Avengers. We were building up to the Avengers from the beginning. At the end of their first team up and the end of Avengers, we start building up to Thanos. That's Endgame. That's 7 years down the line. They're still building up to it. I'm looking at the slate of DCU projects is right in front of me right now. Every one of them is so self-contained because Superman is fighting Lex Luthor in Superman. Supergirl is fighting the Brigands in Supergirl. Now we're going to have Superman coming back again to fight Lex Luthor again.
No.
Or team up with Lex Luthor.
Team up with Lex Luthor, fight Brainiac. Yeah.
But it's
hyped.
This whole series is so monster of the week. It's like, how are we getting a Superman sequel without any sort of build up as to where Superman's going through the rest of the DCU? It concerns me.
So I know it concerns you, but I remember James Gunn saying something about like that is a specific choice. Is we are not going to try to replicate the MCU. We're not going to try because the MCU already did it. It was a miracle that it worked. Like, maybe build up to a Justice League movie, but I don't think they should build up to an Infinity War or Endgame or something like that, because we've already seen that before. No one really... I don't think anyone would care. Like, we would... Yeah. Like, it'd be cool to see... To do that with the DCU, but, like, no one may care that much if we don't, you know? Because I think it's good enough to just have, like, yes, these characters exist in the same universe. Like, they can be in each other's movies, but we don't need to have, and we can have the team up movies, but we don't need to have a overarching, like, this arc is, like, there's gonna be this big arc, you know? Like, the CW, and I know the CW isn't the greatest example, but mainly that's just because it's kind of like half crappy TV.
Yeah.
But the CW did that a lot. Was, you know, the characters would have their own shows, and then you would get a few crossover episodes. Which would be
they did do that.
Which would be like a Justice League movie here and there. And then they did this Crisis of Infinite Earths thing.
I was just about to say,
where like they were trying to do like a big like in-game level like disaster, and I was just like, I just don't think it works because it kind of comes out of nowhere because you've been so self-contained. So I think if they're doing self-contained, it's got to stay self-contained, and they can have those few crossovers. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna have some good like comic book movies for the DCU, and I don't think it needs to be the next MCU. I don't think we're ever gonna have that again.
Yeah, and just to add to your point, like that's of the concerns I have, that's not one of them for me.
I will say, so I think ultimately what it obviously comes down to is, are the movies good, right? If the movie's good, then almost everything else can be averted. Yeah. I think my concern about keeping it self-contained also ties back, again, I know we keep bringing up the MCU, but it is the most popular cinematic universe. It's an important comparison. What you're looking at when you're talking about compartmentalized heroes that occasionally have crossovers in other movies, right? They appear in other movies, but they're mostly self-contained without build up to a larger plot, without build up to a larger crossover, is called the MCU Phase 4 and 5. Because that is a lot of movies that are standalone. They tried building up to something, but retconned it in a TV show, and now the main villain that they're going in for their crossover movie is
Doom.
Dr. Doom, who was
coming out of nowhere.
Only set up in the movie right before. But now what we're seeing is like, oh, sometimes Doctor Strange shows up in Spider-Man. It doesn't make the movie better. He's just there.
Yeah.
And so like, oh, sometimes Mr. Fantastic shows up in Doctor Strange and doesn't make the movie better, but he's there. And like, I don't want the DCU to fall into, like, I know I'm being very pessimistic and cynical right now, but I want the DCU to succeed. I sincerely do. I really like Superman. And honestly, like, if we get a really good superhero cinematic universe, one that finally recapitalizes on the idea that the MCU succeeded at, ultimately, I think the MCU was a success for the first 3 phases.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If the DCU can do that, I will be the happiest guy. Like, I would love if the DCU manages to do that. What I'm pointing out is things that I'm concerned about given how the MCU is going and given the trends of filmmaking as it stands in the modern day. I feel like this is worrying, and I don't want DC to go the same way as the MCU Phase 4. And that's like, that structure is what I see in the MCU Phase 4, and a lot of the issues I have with it come from that structure. But, you know, if the movies are good, the movies are good. And that's what it comes down to.
When Man of Tomorrow comes out next year, we get Lanterns, Clayface, and Man of Tomorrow. I'll make that judgment.
Yeah.
Because Lanterns is big for the DCU. Yeah. Clayface was one that wasn't in the initial, and it's just like, I'm banking, was that pitch actually really good, or are you guys just taking anybody?
Yeah.
And then Man of Tomorrow, it's borrowed trust at this point. It's James Gunn doing Superman again.
Yeah. And I think...
if all 3 fail, I'm out.
Yeah.
I don't... And I think, honestly, like, I still trust James Gunn. I have, like... also, wait. I was thinking about this. Think about Thor early on in the MCU. All the Thor movies were kind of like probably about where the Supergirl movie was, probably where Supergirl was. Like, pretty mid. Thor was pretty mid.
I hate Thor.
Okay, well, even so, that's even better. You're proving my point more. Jesse hates Thor, and MCU was still like huge success. So I don't think 1 or 2 like mid movies are gonna like shoot the DCU in the foot. I think they can come back from it.
Yeah.
And I think if they are deciding that they're not going to build up to anything at all, then keeping it self-contained with like a Justice League movie here and there, I think that works.
I agree with you that the MCU managed to overcome it, and I agree that the DCU can overcome it. My issue is that
I actually don't think the MCU overcame it. I'm saying I think the DCU needs to learn from what the MCU just messed
I
up.
see.
Also,
So,
I'm not one of those people that are just like, oh, Supergirl's mid, DC's over. I'm like,
Yeah, no,
and
of course
also like, I'm not a big fan of Peacemaker season 2. I thought Creature Commandos was pretty forgettable. Like, I'm somebody just like Superman's the only DCU project I really like.
Yeah.
Peacemaker season 2 was my pick for the most disappointing season of TV this decade.
Wow.
I mean, I don't hate it.
When did
but
True Detective come out?
True Detective?
Yeah.
Wait, what was it?
No, just because I know you don't like
No,
the
no, no.
later seasons of True Detective.
I watched
What
season
was
2.
your
and I
most
tried-
disappointing?
Peacemaker season 2.
It was disappointing?
Yeah.
Or just
I
the very
think
end?
The ending was bad.
I mean,
Well,
yeah.
not just the ending, but I just feel like for me with that show, I don't want to get too much of a tangent, but I feel
Yeah.
like it captures a lot of what James Gunn does well and also captures some things that really scared me. Where on a character level, and whenever I say I'm frustrated with it, everyone brings up, oh, but like this, I was like, on a character level, it works really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a story level, it's so odd and so frustrating that they spend way too long at this other dimension just to be like, oh yeah, let's just leave. And then the stuff with Frank Grillo, I'm just like, why would you not do more with his dad? Like that's just such
That's fair.
Like that's a bizarre choice. And also
Yeah.
like where they put Peacemaker at the end of the show,
Yeah.
I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
And then like the multiverse stuff just felt like an afterthought. I was just like I watched it and it's just like episode 8, like the flashback between Peacemaker. We said this earlier, like the flashback between Peacemaker and Jennifer Holland's character. I didn't want to see that. We don't need to see that. That's not an appropriate finale.
I thought, because that was going to be the finale until they put him back. And I actually think that's what most people thought the finale should have been, you know?
Yeah.
Was just like, that was the happy ending, right?
Yeah.
And then a lot of people were like, that's where it should have ended.
Yeah. Because a lot of people, like, on a story level, it works, but also just, like, the flashback they give.
Yeah.
I would have cut all of that out.
Yeah.
And also just, like, it showcased, you know, like, that's one of the things that, like, as someone who's entering Hollywood, like, the thing that I was like, oh, like, that's why I don't like the thing where people say, write this for yourself. Because I look at Peacemaker and just, like, James Gunn just felt like he wrote that for himself. His favorite band's playing. He's with all of his friends. You know, he has a picture of himself at the end with, like, him walking with the whole cast. And it just felt like he was just trying to make it for himself. And the more I thought about Peacemaker season 2, I don't hate it. Like, there's things about it I really like. But for me, a dramatic drop in quality from season 1. Just on a story level. On a character level, it's firing on mostly all cylinders. But
Yeah.
yeah. But even to that point of just like, I'm not checked out yet. I know it's still early on. I do have concerns. Not all of them are yours. But I will say that with the next 3 projects, when we review Man of Tomorrow next year, that's when I'm going to be like, okay, is this working?
Yeah, and then we'll see, because there's also so many projects that are in the works and are falling apart at the seams right now.
Yeah.
Sergeant Rock lost a director. There was supposed to be a Wonder Woman movie that we know pretty much nothing about, even though they said they were fast-tracking development on it. There's a Teen Titans, a Swamp Thing. Booster Gold's supposed to have a TV show or a movie. Blue Beetle is supposed to be rebooted, potentially with the same casting from the DCE.
Well, not even just those, but like the Authority is one
The
that fell through.
Authority, horrifying situation.
I've read The Authority, and it just feels like I get why, just because like it's called The Boys, it's called Invincible, like that kind of thing of just like deconstructed superheroes who think the world is broken.
Yeah.
We've seen that already.
Yeah.
How do you do it differently? I don't know.
Yeah.
The Boys just ended, which like that was kind of taking superheroes and just like Homelander is an evil Superman. It's just like we've seen that already.
Remember that Bane movie?
Oh, the Bane and Deathstroke movie?
Yeah, that was supposed to happen. We don't know if that's happening, but yeah. Anyway, so that's all.
Yeah,
that's all our discussion on the DCU. Unless anyone else has something to say.
Yeah, it's also like tricky. That's just like
Logan. You got anything to say?
Nothing.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Then.
Diva.
Is it ratings time?
I think it's rating time. All right.
What do we do about it? Oh,
so this is
don't jump the gun, Brody.
It's the letterboxed scale. So 5 stars with halves, which essentially means rated out of 10. I give this movie probably 2.5 stars.
Okay.
Max, what do you give Supergirl?
I give it a 3.
Brody, what do you give Supergirl?
I think I'll give it a 3.5.
Okay.
All right.
So we're right, like
yeah. So like we're each like a step above the other one. In a sense,
Yeah.
I gave it a 3 of just like that's like middle rating, at least on a letterbox scale.
Yeah.
So just like I fall in the middle, so I rated it a 3.
Yeah. 2.5. I could go either way.
So I
probably
guess
a
we
high
average
2.5.
out as a 3.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah. With all that being said, let's jump. If you have anything to say about what we said, what we didn't say, we said a lot in this episode. This was a rather long one. So there's plenty to pick apart here, plenty to disagree with us on. And if you do, put it in the comments section below. We will read out your comment on a future episode of the weekly spoiler review. Not this one. We don't have any comments. Moving into plugs, Max, what is our Instagram? Don't click off.
Yeah, our Instagram is post_credits podcast, all lowercase. We are a little bit dormant at the moment just because there's a lot of stuff that's been backlogged. Obviously, like as college kids, we're on summer break, so there's not a whole lot there at the moment. But once episodes come out and once we all get back on track, there will be more bonus content on there, like out of the theater reactions, some like little clips from like gameplays we do. So keep an eye on for that. It's been a project that I've been really excited about, and we finally made it happen a few months ago. So go check out the stuff that's there.
Yeah. Brody, you're the special guest, so you get first. You get to plug your stuff first. Where do you want people to find you?
Oh man, wait. I want people to find me or not find me. Wait. My Instagram is Brody Lyons 19. That's Brody with a Y and Lyons with a Y and not an I, and then 19.
All right. Sweet. Moving into Letterboxd plugs, we all three of us have Letterboxd. I am on Letterboxd as Threnvy.
Oh, you have Letterboxd?
Yes, I do.
Oh shoot! I need to add you real quick. Hold on. Wait, I'll plug it, then you can.
So I'm Threnvy on Letterboxd. That's THRNV. Like this in. I have a review of Supergirl up if you want to read it. You can also read some other things that I put up, such as my review of Toy Story 5. Max, go ahead.
Okay. My Letterboxd is MJ Spiegel, all lowercase. That's MJSPIEGEL. I know I've been a little dormant on the last couple of podcast episodes with posting stuff, but I do have a review up for Supergirl, and as well as The Death of Robin Hood and Toy Story 5. So if you guys want to check those out. I do also have a ranking. Right after I saw Supergirl, I went home and I made a ranking of every single theatrical DC movie that's ever been released. I've ranked all of them with Supergirl. So if you guys want to go look at that list, I spend a lot of time doing it. Some of the movies I might need to rewatch, but just off of memory and off of some stuff I've seen recently, I have a ranking out for that. So be sure to check that out.
My Letterboxd is Brody with a Y_L. I keep it pretty casual on Letterboxd, so don't expect the most riveting stuff on my thing, but yeah.
All right. Amazing. And with all of that being said, thank you, Brody, for joining the podcast.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting me.
And until next time, roll credits.